I am filming this today on the 3rd, so it's Sunday, and hopefully this will go up today, worst case scenario tomorrow. One thing I did want to let you guys know is that I do have my autofocus on. I know that my initial videos, it was very distracting, but some of these things I want to be able to give you guys close-up views of, and I try to kind of test film a little bit, and if I don't have the autofocus on, there are going to be things you guys are not going to be able to see. So this is my first time actually planning on camera. Hopefully this is going to go well. And again, if you have any questions, comments, or anything that you need to see again, please let me know in the comments. And here we go. Oops, sorry, bumped the thing. I'm doing my lesson plans for my homeschool week that's coming up. The main stamps that I use are from, I'm hoping I don't butcher this, Altier Dreams on Etsy. And these are done by Tally, and she hand draws these and designs them, and I absolutely love them. This is the back to school set, and it divides a lot of things up. There's lots of images and pictures you can use, but there's also lots of words. And I just really love this set. This is my go-to set when I'm doing my homeschool. And then this is another set she has, and this one is called Planning Day. And I find this useful a lot as well. It actually has homeschool there, personal planner, TV shows, groceries, birthdays, meals, fountain pens, dentist appointments, anything for your kids, picking up, post office packages, all kinds of stuff. So these are very useful, especially if you're wanting to stamp and not always use stickers. You guys are gonna have to excuse me for 1 second. My battery is dying, so let me replace that. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Let me get situated. Okay, so as I was saying before, I use these Altier Dreams. If I'm saying that wrong, Talia, I'm so sorry. But these are from Etsy, and I just absolutely love these stamps. So these are the stamp sets I'm going to be using. And then these are my main 3 pages that are concerned with lesson plans. This is the weekly fold chart, and this comes from version 2.2, 2 pages per day. And what I did was, all of this is here, the outline of the big box with the lines here. All of the text, and then these little boxes down here, I added by using my computer and the program Preview. I'm a Mac user, and I was able to insert text boxes, and that way I'm able to move each individual thing. I don't like it when you do, I personally have trouble with overlays that are all one document, because if I have to move one little thing or change one little word, I can throw the whole thing off. With the text boxes in Preview, what was really awesome about that was if I wanted to change mathematics to math or science to anatomy, I'm not going to throw everything else out of whack. I can just change that one word, I can move it, it lines everything up for you if you want it to be centered, however you want it to be. But I could move it to what made sense for my brain. And it does take time to go in and edit each individual thing. But personally, I feel that if I can move things individually, it's going to save me time in the long run. And this is the exact same just about every single week. So once you get it down, it's not hard to go in and type it. I do it like while we're watching something on Netflix or watching YouTube videos. I'll just do it while my kids are doing schoolwork. It's just whenever I have time to fill them in. I try to be a couple months ahead and have these ready so that I can just print them out as I get closer to the month. These 2 sheets come from the version 3.2, and it's a weekly set that is based off of this. And it has a week on one day with some checklists up here. Here's a mistake I made that I just didn't delete. I wasn't going to reprint it for that. These are a sticker that I found on Etsy that I actually used in my Erin Condren teacher lesson planner, and I cannot remember the shop's name, so I'll add that to the comments or description bar. But this is something I typed. Everything else is how it came except for this text up here. And then I hand wrote this in of, we have our community day starting tomorrow, and then I need to return blue books. Then the way it comes is like this, and then you would flip it and it would be the next week. But I just created it in such a way that there's a blank sheet here, and this is where I keep my Bible verse and quotes. And then this was a checklist sheet that I created. This part down here where the lines are for the days of the week is here, and the big box. Everything else I added. So where my son's name is, the lines here, the initials here for the subjects we go over, my text here, and this text. All of these lines I added. These lines down here were already here. So what I did with this is I actually print this out twice. Once on this side for my younger kids, and then on for my class over here, and then this pertains to the class. So what I actually do here is we're going to start with my younger kids. And like I said, we do classical conversations, and my younger children are in the Foundations program. So I'm going to kind of show you what books I'm using. Let me flip this over. This is what the Foundations guide looks like. This is the cover for this year. Is that in focus? There we go. And then each week is divided as to what we're going to go over. See if it's going to autofocus for me. And it's not autofocusing. But it's on autofocus. We're having trouble. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. So this is set up with what we're going to be going over in week 13. So this is all of the memory work that my children are going to be doing, my younger kids. And then this is for the next week. So this is all of our memory work, and this is what goes with what's written right here. So these are all the things I have to remember to make sure we're going over. We will now be focusing on art and not tin whistle, but I still have it listed here because it is something that we do every other 6 weeks. So that is pretty much planned out for me. For Bible study, we use a CC download that you can get off of CC Connected. And it's a program, there's a memorization piece each week. It's usually from different parts of the Bible or different aspects of the Bible. And then my children are also in Awana at our church. And we will just go to where they're at. So for example, my daughter is up here to the red jewel. And these verses that she has to learn, these will be what she uses for her handwriting and copy work. And then we also will go through, find these in the Bible and discuss them a little bit more thoroughly. So that's what we do for Bible study. Now for reading, we use All About Reading. And they are both doing first grade level 1. And these, we go to where we're at in the book. I divide them out. And then we work on fluency practice, whatever it has for us that week. And we just sort of work through the book. And I don't always have these planned out perfectly because some weeks go better than others. Some weeks go faster than others. And you know, other weeks they just need more time. But this is what we use for our reading program. For handwriting, we use a combination of two things. One is copy work from the Awana stuff that I showed you a minute ago. But then we also do Handwriting Without Tears. This is the first grade printing power. And I will pick pages and we work through these slowly. Sometimes, you know, again, it goes fast. Sometimes it goes slow. But I give the kids time to do it. This is really good if I need them to fill a few minutes on their own or if I need to help their older brother. Because they know just turn to the next page, work through that page, and everything will be great. So that's a good thing too. And then our math program that we use is Saxon. And this book it's been rough. This is the first half of the year book still. We are up to lesson 60, I think, 50, 58, 59, somewhere in there. And we go through those every day. Some of the, math work is copy work like this. Sometimes it's math problems. Sometimes it's word problems, working on time, working on money. So it goes through a lot of different things. What I actually do with my Saxon is I match that up with my challenge. In challenge, they're doing Saxon as well, and they do 4 lessons a week. So I try to line them up so that all my kids are doing lesson 50 on the same day, 52, however that works out. The younger kids don't have as many assessments as my older son does, but we do those on our own time. So the lessons just help me remember, okay, we're doing lesson 50 through 54 this week, and that way I can just kind of keep up with where everybody is at. The other thing I track on here for the younger kids is their presentation topic and then also instrument practice. My older son plays the guitar. My younger two are on the piano right now. And we practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We don't always get to practice on Thursday, but that's actually lesson day. So I leave it here in case the opportunity presents itself. But my goal is to at least practice 5 days a week. And so if we miss a day, that's okay. If the kids feel like practicing on Thursday, then we practice and maybe don't have to do it on Saturday. Okay, so that's where we're starting. So what I was going to show you is how I chose my stamps, and then I'm going to pause it and get some things filled in and go over what it looks like at the end. Then we'll stop and I'll get my challenge guide out to kind of show you how I plan for my older son as well. So when I'm stamping, I just pick my school stamps from Altier Dreams, and I have pretty much a set way of doing it. So when you take the plastic off, you can pull everything out, and I just sort of looked at the icons to decide what I thought represented what I needed them to represent, basically. I use Memento black ink and VersaFine. It just kind of depends. I've switched to a new paper, and I'm still trying to test it out and see which ink works best. But I love these stamps because it really looks like it's just been hand drawn, which I like. And I like having the icons. Sometimes I doodle in color, so I use them for that. Sometimes I just like having the pictures. I just enjoy them. I think Tally's very talented, and I love the way these look. And it just kind of dresses it up a little bit, makes it a little bit fun for me. For memory work, I use this globe because it's pretty much talking about everything in the world. And I just kind of like using that. I also do these for my older son, but what I do is I don't have the words typed in on those. So it just kind of helps me to remember what each section is. But, you know, you don't have to have the words if you don't want to. It's definitely not something that is necessary to use it. But it's just, like I said, to me it just makes it a little bit of fun, a little bit of whimsy. When I get bored, sometimes I can color them in or do whatever. And then I also love this backpack. I do it every week because I just think it's so darn cute. And then, so I always put that up here at the top. And then in our particular community, we pack a lunch. So I usually set this up here, and sometimes it's just to remind me to not forget to pack lunches for everybody, because sometimes I do forget, and that's when you end up running up the street to Chick-fil-A for lunch, which is okay, but not preferable every time. So that's the stamping. I try to keep the lesson planning part as simple as possible. If it takes me hours to do this, then I'm not going to ever have time to do it. But this is what the page will look like when you're done. And then what I'm going to do is pause it real quick and fill in a little bit, and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, I got my lesson plan filled out. So what I've written in here is the question for this week, and we're on week 13, is who are the 12 sons of Israel for which the 12 tribes are named? And I've written the answers in here. This just helps me so that I'm not having to flip through a bunch of things. I'm just able to answer the questions. This is our memory work, and the kids get to choose 2 subjects per day. And timeline and history usually go together. And then math and science usually go together. English and Latin usually go together. And then we do art or tin whistle, depending on what we're studying at the time. And so we usually do 1 to 2 subjects a day of review work, but we also review all of the memory work every day. And I'm planning to do a video a little bit more about CC and how we implement it at home. So I'll go into more depth with that later. But this is just a list so that I can say, yeah, we did the timeline and we did science and that. Because we also incorporate a notebook process that we got off of CC Connected, and it was designed by Sherry Ellis. And it's an amazing set of worksheets and activities that she put together that you can divide up by week. So it just kind of gives me some backup things to do if I'm not able to teach a concept, she sometimes does them in different ways that my kids get. It also gives them some hands-on activities to do. And they really enjoy it. They like having that control of going to get their notebook and pulling out their assignments that they want to do that day. So I find that is helpful when you're homeschooling, especially younger kids, to give them just a little bit of control of what it is they're going to be doing with their time. It also is a really great way to introduce time management at a young age. For handwriting this week, for Awana, they're going to be choosing a missionary to study, and we're going to be working on a kind of like a little bit of a report. So that'll be part of it, but also we're going to do some handwriting without tears. These pages are what's coming up. I usually do a page per day for my kids. That's enough because we do a lot of copy work in other areas. So that's what I usually stick with. My daughter tends to always want to do more, so she can do more if she wants to, but I do try to keep them from, finishing the book in a day, because I feel that if you rush that fast, you really aren't learning the concepts. So try to slow that down. For Latin this week, because we are just now starting back from our Christmas break, I'm going to do a review of the first semester concepts. And then there's a game that came with it. We do Song School Latin, and I have the flashcards, and they do kind of a matching game and a couple of other games that you can play with the cards to kind of review things. So I'll pull out the cards and the vocabulary from the first semester, and we'll do a couple games and just kind of refresh our brains and get back into it before I start introducing new concepts again. For reading this week, we're going to do a review and the fluency practice, which every so often, All About Reading gives you a fluency, and then we're going to continue on with lesson 4. We've been going very slowly through this because I really want to make sure that the kids have the fundamentals and everything down before we move on. My kids are at different levels, so I don't want to push one too hard, and I don't want to hold one back. So sometimes we do separate activities, and other times I let them work together because they can teach each other certain concepts. And I find that sometimes that's more effective than mom doing it. So we do that sometimes as well. And then for math this week, they do a meeting book daily, and that's basically calendar review. And so we go over the calendars, we come up with patterns, we talk about the days and the months and the years and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to be doing lessons 61 through 64 this week. We do these Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And like I said, these match up with the numbers for my older son. So I'm not trying to remember who's on what lesson. This kind of just makes it a little bit easier for myself. And then the presentation topic for the Foundations kids this week is student choice. My daughter wants to talk about her birthday party, and my son wants to talk about his cousins that came to visit over the Christmas holiday. So I just kind of jot that down so that they've picked a topic. They have to somewhat prepare. At their ages, they're 6 and 7. It's not a huge drawn out process. They don't have to have, displays and all that kind of stuff, but they can kind of take it to where their level is. So when they do animals or something of that nature, we do a little bit of research. We learn 3 facts that we can talk about with our class. But for this, it's kind of just getting back into the swing of things and getting them to stand up and talk in front of the class again and just kind of in that habit. So they usually pick something kind of fun, so they get to pick what they want. And then sometimes we do things where they have to demonstrate something. So they have to tell us how to make, brownies, or how they build a certain toy, or whatever it is. I really like that skill set. It's something that I don't think is taught in brick and mortar schools anymore, and modern schools don't really focus on it till they're older. But if it's a skill that they work on from a young age, it's much more natural to them when they get to that age where you really want them to debate and be able to think on their feet if they're already comfortable being in front of other people. So again, that's something CC related. And again, I'm going to do a video on that. And then instrument practice, obviously during the week as they practice, I check them off. Just for my own, just to make sure that we're kind of staying on track with that. Like I said, I really want them to practice at least 5 times a week. There's 6 opportunities. So I just try to keep track of it that way. One thing that I did do different this week, and this does not necessarily pertain to lesson plans, but in the past I've used stamps here, and this week I decided to try using my washi tape color code, which goes back in, sorry for my head being in the way, which goes back to my month. And so when they're in and they line up, it's going to kind of continue it into the week. I did try it all the way across, and then I did some short ones. I'm not sure which one I like better, but the short ones do allow me to write in things. For example, you know, we have pest control coming this week, and I believe my son has an orthodontist appointment on Wednesday, so it allows me to kind of stick a couple other things in there. But I kind of like the color being there. It's just a little bit faster, because I mainly use this for anything weird coming up, and is everything back to normal. And this is kind of our first week back to normal. So that pretty much covers me for my younger kids. And then what I use these pages for here is anything noted this week. Let's say that Henry doesn't finish all the math because he was sick. I would note that here. Let's say Lily had trouble with a Latin concept, so I may write that, you know, next week we maybe need to do another week of review for her as opposed to moving on. It's just a place for me to list notes. And then this down here is just a checklist, so I can sit down, and usually I do this in the evening. Yes, we were able to get Bible study and devotions done. You know, oh, we didn't get to do notebooks today, we'll do that tomorrow. Or, you know, I didn't get all the way done with Latin, so I need to double it up. It just kind of gives me a place I can look and kind of see where I'm at without having to like really dig into it. The next thing that we have is going to be for my Challenge A student. Again, this is a CC program. He is in 7th grade, and so this is the equivalent of 7th grade. And what we do is they have a different book, and I'm trying to get to the cover so I can kind of show you. This is what the book looks like. And it's a challenge guide, and it comes in a notebook format, so it's like shrink wrapped. And it lays out the entire year. It's 30 weeks of material. And so I'm going to show you real quickly what it looks like. So for week 1 of our 2nd semester, it's going to lay out for me what to cover in class and what the homework is for this week. And then I also made these stickers for the novels we're on. So I can look on here and say, this is our novel, this is what I'm going to be doing in class, this is what my son's going to be doing at home. So it's really all written out and planned, I guess, for me. So what I use this for myself is I take the time to go over and write down what do I need to do to be prepared for class. And then on this side is notes in class. So for example, if we do Latin and I notice that Jack is having a real problem with that particular lesson, I'm going to make sure we do a review next week, maybe a pop quiz, something like that. And then this is for each of those subjects. We do Latin, math, composition, science, rhetoric, and geography. So this is just kind of a little notes, like did he have his assignments, were there problems, that kind of thing. Here are assignments and notes. So when we choose our science topic or composition topics, when they choose their paper topics, I'll make notes here so that I remember what we decided. Or if I assigned the topics, I'll make notes there. I also make notes of, you know, if somebody was sick, did somebody not seem to be feeling well that day? I email my parents each week. And so if there's something that I think maybe I need to ask about specifically, that's where I would note that. And then this here is my list of stuff I need to do. And I just check them off when I get them done. So this is all really prep work for week 17. This is kind of week 16 and week 17. So this is more of a personal sheet for me, because in Challenge A, the lesson plans are really done for you. You can adjust them as you see fit as the parent. The tutors, which is what I do, usually just stick with the guide, but we can adjust it based on what's going on with our class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this real quick and fill in what it is that I want to fill in for the day, and then I'll just kind of show you how I'm using these for myself personally. I'll be right back. Hey guys, sorry I'm back. I've got my sheets filled in. So what I've done here is this is everything that we'll be going over in class and any notes that I think I need to make. So for example, with our The Secret Garden, we'll be working on essay number 5, and we use Lost Tools of Writing. So these are the topics that we're going to be going over in class. They should have the book read, and we're going to be working on this. Oral presentations this week are going to be on sharks and fish, and our next topic is going to be marsupials. For rhetoric, we're reading a book, It Couldn't Just Happen, and so we have to have a chapter read and discuss it in class. For geography, we're going to be reviewing the Western Hemisphere and introing Asia. The kids have to draw the maps, and at the end of the semester, we do a Blue Book exam where they will draw the map from memory. And then we also talk about capitals and countries and physical features of each continent. So it's a lot of material, but as you can see, it's going to be something that we're going to cover for 5 weeks. So I kind of divide up what we're going to talk about, and then they have to just continually review the materials and focus in on that. Math, I just review those lessons, make sure that I understand them, and then I'm able to go over them with the guys. And I'll have all boys in my class this year. So talk to the kids about it, and if there's anything that I need to look up or refresh, make sure I've done that prior to getting to class. And then for our Latin this week, we're going to be introing lesson 7. We're working on adjectives. These are the exercises. I want to do vocabulary review, so I may do a quiz. We use Henley Latin, and I also use Visual Latin. There's videos that correspond with the Henley lessons. So sometimes it just kind of helps me listen to somebody else explain it, a better way for me to explain it, because Latin is not something that I learned as a child. It's something I'm learning now as an adult, and I think differently than a kid thinks. So it's interesting for me to see it from another perspective, and I kind of watch the videos from Visual Latin and get an idea of if I understand the concept, but it also gives me a different way. He does examples and different sentences, so it just kind of helps me to make sure that I'm thoroughly explaining it when I explain it to the kids in class on Mondays. The idea is that I introduce everything that they're going to be studying that week. So we spend about an hour per strand, and then they go home and do that work, and then they come back the next Monday, ask any questions that they have, and then we work on the next set of grammar, the new assignments. At the top here, I have 3 things that I try to do every week. I do a summary email, which goes to the parents and just says, this is where we're at. We were able to stay on track with the challenge guide, or we had to make some adjustments. If I had any specific issues or there was a subject where we had a problem, I'll let the parents know, because the parents are the teachers. I'm just tutoring. I'm facilitating some other material to the kids. So it's still ultimately the parents are the teachers. So it just kind of gives them a feedback, because we're kind of working as a team to do this process. I also do notebook checks. I do a spot notebook check on my own kid, but then I also will occasionally ask to see other students' check books and just check and make sure that they have their materials, that they're keeping up with things. It just gives them a little bit of accountability. In Challenge A, they're moving from, the elementary school into those middle school years, and it's, they're becoming more responsible and self-taught. So they need to, it just gives them that little bit of accountability. They never know when I'm going to ask or if I'm going to ask. And that way I can kind of see if I'm going too fast, if I'm going too slow, if there's issues that I think I need to bring to the parents' attention. It just gives me a chance to do that. And then I spot grade. Occasionally I'll ask to see different assignments, mainly just so that I can make sure I'm teaching it effectively. The other things that I did is I used my stamps just like I always do. And this is Latin, math, composition, research, rhetoric, and geography. And then because the dates are kind of irrelevant, we have our community day on this day, and on Sundays I'm going to be finished. I cover the dates sometimes, and sometimes I don't. Because it's really just the material. If I get this done on Tuesday, it's awesome. But if I have to do it on Wednesday because a kid is sick on Tuesday, that's okay too. Sorry, I just realized you were out of frame. So it's just kind of a matter of deciding which is working better. And then this sheet will be more filled out tomorrow in class. But then at the notes down here at the bottom, you know, for grammar, this is what we're going to be doing the next week. These are the math lessons. This is what I'm going to be going over in composition. So it just gives me kind of an idea of what I need to be looking at for week 17 and a little place for notes. And then once I've gone through that, this sheet for the following week, I'll go and add more detailed information of what I'm doing and what I need to get done for week 17. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions or are curious about anything that I mentioned today, please feel free to let me know. Classical Conversations does have its own YouTube channel, and you can get a lot of information there. And again, like I said, if there's something specific that you were wondering about, let me know. I am planning to do a video that talks more about CC and how we implement it at home. I just haven't had time to film that yet, so that's my next goal. And I'm hoping to film the rest of my plan with me for the week on my dailies in a minute. I just decided I should divide the homeschool from the regular planning, just so that the video is not hours upon hours long. I hope you guys are all looking forward to a great week back to reality. For most of us, we're either going back to school or going back to work, or our kids are. I hope everybody has a really great week and a blessed day, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.